Good evening, good evening. Please give me your attention for however long this video is. It's super important. If you are a voting citizen, if you are voting age, it's important. And the reason I always say, you can go to my bio, you can look at my link tree, go to the petition, download it, sign it, and take it to your supervisor of elections office is because citizens need to understand that we lost a lot of power even when we give up influence. And what do I mean? 2012, this is where history pops in again. 2012, we allowed for the Smith-Month Modernization Act of 2012. It was part, though, of the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2013. This was under President Obama's administration. This is what happened. They're going to say that it was embedded, hidden, but we're not going to give any more elected officials that opportunity. I don't care. You get paid as an elected official to know what's in those bills. And you had to know that this was a problem. And what was the Smith-Month Modernization Act of 2012? It repealed the domestic dissemination ban from the original Smith-Month Act of 1948. This thing, guys, now allowed U.S. government broadcasting agencies to distribute programming domestically. This meant that now our government could legally use propaganda against its own citizens. And the one thing I always say is, you have to take accountability. I am 42 years old. I'm 42. I turned 18 in the year 2000. I'm 42 years old. This was done in 2012. I've been voting for quite a while. I'm part of the problem because I didn't know. I didn't know to look and I didn't think about it. That's why it's important for young people to pay attention, because I didn't know, because I never had the access or the purpose to know, because I couldn't do anything to stop it in the first place. Now you got to understand that what I'm saying is, if you were asked, hey, is it okay if we sign into legislation that we can use propaganda against you, that we can influence you knowing that it could not be true? Would you vote for that? Would you vote to allow your government to do that? If your answer as an individual is no, your representatives, they answer with a resounding yes. And the proof is literally here. The final vote, there were 81 yeas from the Senate. Democrats voted at a total of also 81%. Republican support, 81%. Democrat support, 87%. This was a bipartisan. Everybody voted yes. The government voted yes. Do not give any other elected officials any leeway to say, I did not know what was in the bill, when you're paying these elected officials to know what's in the bill. Do not allow it, but understand this. Even if you don't allow it, there's nothing we can do about it. Which is why I'm running for governor of Florida. Which is why I'm telling citizens why it is important to have legislative authority. How many of you knew that the Smith-Month Modernization Act that was passed in 2012 by bipartisan? I don't care that they're saying that, oh, we had to pass the National Defense Act. It was a matter of national security that we also needed to say that we could use propaganda on our own citizens. So yeah, you're out here arguing amongst each other. You're out here wondering why people don't have to tell the truth, because we said it was okay. Because citizens do not control their elected officials. That's why. So those elected officials said, hey, they could have all got together. This is the most important part that nobody wants to ever acknowledge. Every single one of them could have gotten together and said, hey, you know what? This part of the bill, we're not going to pass it until this comes out, because this needs, if y'all want this, it needs to be its own conversation that is also brought up to the American people. But somebody's saying, bring it up to them for what? They can't vote on it. So why does it matter? Now All of us are out here arguing back and forth. You got all of these news broadcasting agencies, and you're like, well, who's gonna say anything? Why say anything when it's not against the law? When it's okay, even domestically, to use propaganda against your citizens? Who's gonna stop that from happening when somebody thought it was okay and it was passed bipartisan? And I don't care about the excuses. You could have just said no. We're not gonna pass this bill as long as this is a part of it, because that's why you guys are there. But this is why I am imploring you to please give my videos a listen when I give you this information. TikTok took all the headlines out. I could care less. Go listen to any video I have. I always back up the data. And the data's there and you can go look it up. The government allowed propaganda to happen. So of course we have division all over the place. Because when you deregulate, when you take away regulations, why would anybody not take advantage of not getting in trouble for something? If you have no laws, then you did nothing wrong until a law is established. We don't have a simplistic law that says that an elected official must tell its citizens the truth. We don't have something as simplistic as that. You're an elected official. Why on earth has no one said, this is why we have to come in? But nobody said, hey, we need to go back and revisit this because this was a huge mistake. But you don't hear about it. So let's just say they did, because I had to go look up, hey, has anybody challenged this since it came in? Because this is something that definitely should have been challenged. I'm an err on the side of probably not. But even if they did, even if they challenged it, to know that it's still active means that everybody's okay with it. But why? Why would our government be okay being able to domestically implement propaganda to its citizens? There's a problem, but the solution is always going to be the same. The solution from me is always going to be the same. Citizens, we need to, at a state level, take more control. And it needs to start with the state that says, hey, this state citizens decided to elect a candidate that gave them more control over legislation that happens in their state. And when the federal government turns around and says that it is going to negatively impact that state because their citizens wanted to be more active in what goes on in that state managed to stay together, branch together, and show solidarity. It's kind of like the House representative says that he did not want to vote on releasing the Epstein files because he didn't want the victims' names to come out. And my thing is, well, let's start with all the perpetrators. And of course, the perpetrators are going to want to face their accusers. And you know what we're going to do as good moral citizens? We're going to support the victims in solidarity nationally, letting them know that it was not their fault and that we are going to hold those perpetrators accountable for their actions. But instead, they placate and use the victims to weasel out of giving actual results. And citizens, we have got to stand in front of the good and the bad and say, enough is enough. And that takes the first step, which is getting citizens legislative authority and putting and ensuring that our government becomes subservient to its citizens. Our governments need to know that you are here to serve at the will of the people. And I'm talking about you need to be obedient to us. You need to be submissive to us. You need to be compliant to us. You need to be assertive in our actions and what we want. And that's important. And that's why I'm a candidate for governor of Florida. That's my sole reason. Everything rests on you wanting to see better. And that's why if you go to my bio, if you're on YouTube, you go to my bio, you see the link tree. If you go to TikTok, you go to my bio, you see the link tree. Get the petition. Give us a chance to do something different, because it's already it's run amok right now. We don't know who to trust. And I can tell you right now, I did the work. I did the data. We are very low on the percentage. 22% of citizens trust the government. 22% of citizens trust the government. That's overall. This is crazy. They even broke this down. They even broke it down by numbers. Asian Americans, 36% trust the government. Hispanic Americans, 30% trust the government. Black Americans, 27% trust the government. Listen to this number. White Americans, which make up the majority, 19% trust the government. 19% trust the government. Overall, we have a 22% of American citizens trust in our government. But interestingly enough, 69% of citizens said they would have more trust in a government that they felt they had a hand in. That's well over 50%. 69% of citizens said we would trust the government more if we had more control. This is why I'm offering more control for citizens. Please give me a look. Please check me out. Please pass this on. And I thank you for your time. You will have a great evening.